Welcome back, you beautiful people. Today I want to talk to you about growing a brick and mortar practice to $1 million and what I would do today if I was starting over. So I typically don't do super straightforward episodes like this because I'm possibly interviewing somebody, or I like to go like identity mindset. But it's really important to remind you that I did not build any of these $1 million businesses without a lot of strategy involved, okay? And even now, as I look at scaling our coaching company to 8 figures and beyond, I'm spending a ton of time in strategy, and the strategy works. And then what happens is I have to become somebody different on the other side because the things work, the company explodes, the team grows, all of these shifts happen at a rapid pace. And then I find myself on the backside of that trying to calibrate my identity to get to become the kind of person that can lead a company like that. But if I was going to go back and I was going to do it again, and I was going to start from ground zero on growing a brick and mortar location, whether it's chiropractic, PT, acupuncture, physical therapist, functional health, nurse practitioner, med spa, esthetician, whatever I was going to do, this is exactly what I would do. First, I would become omnipresent. So what does that mean? That means that I would want to be everywhere. I tell my clients, you want to become the mayor. You want to be able to walk to the grocery store and see people that know you. You want to be able to step out at like a county fair or like a little market that's happening and people come up to you and be like, oh my God, aren't you so-and-so? That's when you know you're omnipresent. You do that through the lens of marketing and becoming super visible. So obviously social media, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest. Depending on what your niche is, I think Pinterest still works really well, truthfully. And then you would also want to do some paid advertising. So I have friends right now that spend a lot of money on ads. We're talking $100,000 to $200,000 a month on ads. And I admire them. And I'm like, okay, I will get there someday when I have my ad strategy super dialed in. But they are becoming omnipresent because every time you open your phone, their ads are in front of your face. And so again, I want to remind you, I typically don't recommend doing any kind of paid ads through like Meta or YouTube until your funnel is completely figured out. You know what you're selling, your messaging is dialed in, you already have proof that it works and that it converts, that you have testimonials from clients that you've worked with. Like, don't go light your money on fire if you don't already have a product, a system, a service that works, that you have been able to stack the evidence in your favor, that it's going to continue to work when you put more marketing dollars into it. Then I would look and say, who do I need to become affiliated with? Who do I need to know? Who in my area has heavy influence that if I partnered with them or I supported them, I collaborated with them, would help grow my brand as a byproduct? The next thing I would do is invested team. So my clients know I think in your brick and mortar practice, you can get to $350K a year with one employee. I still very much believe that. Everybody wants to know, when do I hire that employee, Steph? Well, truthfully, looking back, I would hire them on day one. I know it increases your overhead. I know you're just trying to figure it out, but you can speed up the process having the right team on board with you from the beginning, willing to get into the nitty-gritty with you, help you figure out the systems along the way. However, I would not hire high-paid team, meaning I would not start an office with additional practitioners or additional providers, additional medical doctors. I would not start with all of these people unless you had confidence, you knew that it was going to grow way beyond your overhead in the first couple of months, because I never like putting somebody in that position where their back is against the wall and they have to stress about finances. Listening, when you are growing a business, you're going to be stressed about finances anyways. There's lots of moving parts. I never like to create more pressure than absolutely necessary, depending on the person. And the reason I want to mention this is, like, my husband thrives under pressure. He is the kind of guy, we joke about this. We used to do this all the time when we were growing the clinics before our teams were so big. And every month, no matter how much amount of money he made, he would clear his checking account to only have $20,000 in it, because he was like, I like the feeling of starting over. I like the grind. I like the hustle. It forces me to get creative to make sure that that account is going to continue to grow. I'm the opposite of that. I don't want to stress my nervous system like that unless I absolutely have to. I love to see reserves in my account. I love to see that cash being stacked. I love to know that I have more than enough to carry me through the different seasons of business. For me, investing in your team should produce a direct ROI. And so I can tell usually in the first 90 days if somebody's going to add value to my company or not. That is why I always do a 90-day probationary period. That is why I always have a 90-day review. I don't care what role you're in, whether you're a VA or you're like a leadership role on my team. I always love to see how things are going in the first 90 days. I think when you're new in business and you're new with growing a team, you think you have to figure it out. You have to get it right. You have to completely nail who you hire. It feels like life or death. It's not life or death. You can just make a decision that these people are no longer working with you because it's not the right fit. Okay. And I really think team speeds up the process. I think you quantum leap with team if you have the right team. I also think team can absolutely kill all the momentum that you have. I've experienced it in every business that I've had where it's not the right team and it feels like you're trying to push this boulder up a mountain and it just keeps falling back on you because you don't have the team that helps you accelerate. The other thing I would do is I would heavily consider a mentor. I don't think I've said this before, at least if I have, I don't remember. Before I even opened my practice, I had no money to my name. You guys are going to read all about this story in the book. I had less than $2,000. I got denied for 2 bank loans. I opened on all credit cards. I opened like 3 credit cards at once that had 0% APR. And I borrowed $15,000 from my mom's 401k. Okay, your girl got resourceful. So this is why I hate the excuse, I don't have money. It's an excuse. At the end of the day, it's an excuse. What you need to ask yourself is how resourceful can you become? All of that, no reserves, and I still had a mentor before I even opened because I knew I wanted to hit the ground running. I knew that I didn't want to have to figure it out on my own. I knew that I wanted to speed up the process if I could, and so that's exactly what I would do if I was trying to grow to $1 million. The other thing I would do is I would gain real life skill sets. And so what do I mean by that? I mean that knowing how to market, knowing how to sell, knowing how to communicate, being able to speak, carry on a conversation, knowing how to influence people, that all comes to communication and sales, knowing how to lead, knowing how to get people excited about your mission and your vision, those are all skill sets. That's what I would care about more than anything. Wouldn't care about what does my niche do. I think this is why I made such a ruffle in the chiropractic field, actually, when I first came on stage, when I first put myself out there. I made such a ruffle because I didn't give a shit what anybody in chiropractic was doing. I didn't care what processes you had. I didn't care what your SOP was, your day 1, your day 2. This is how you sell. This is how you do it. I cared what business owners were doing. What are other industries doing? And how can I apply it to the businesses I already have? That is also what aided in my success online, where I grew really quickly. We did $1.5 million in our first 18 months because I was just applying skill sets. It did not matter the industry. And so if you don't think you have skill sets, I would first start by asking yourself, what's something that would actually excite you to learn? Do you want to learn? I also think marketing through the lens of social media is a skill set. Do you want to learn that? Do you want to invest in that for yourself? Because it doesn't matter what business you have, you probably should learn how to use social media on your behalf, right? Then it comes back to okay, if for me, I've always loved marketing. I love studying what other people are doing. I like trying new things. I like being a trailblazer and doing something that's never done before. And so when I have free time, I spend a lot of my time in marketing. That has also benefited every single business I've ever opened. I think that we spend too much time in the weeds and thinking linearly about things instead of thinking quantumly. And what I mean by that is knowing how to have a phone conversation and convert somebody into your office is a linear strategy. Conversions are linear. Sales is quantum. That is being able to navigate however that conversation goes and still getting people to reach the outcome that you have for them. Marketing, getting more eyeballs on you is a quantum skill set. Just figuring out how to do a screening or figuring out how to post on social or figuring out how to do a Google ad is linear thinking. It's only one strategy that gets you a very specific result. I'm not saying those aren't important. They are, but they're not going to allow you to have the quantum leap because when you invest in a skill set, you become different on the backside of that. You become somebody who's going to carry that experience with you in your life, into the next business venture that you do, into guiding another team. That's why I tell people too, I am never worried about you taking it all away from me. Every business God, please don't let this happen. Every business could evaporate tomorrow and I would have them back in no time because of the skill sets I have developed over the last 10 years of entrepreneurship. I know that those will carry me far into the future beyond my wildest dreams because I have consistently invested in myself and who I'm becoming and the skill sets that will serve me. And so if you're feeling a little stuck and stagnant in your business, you want to have more growth this year than you've had before. Develop your skill sets, become a better version of yourself, hire the right team, fire the people who are dragging you down, find a mentor that's living and breathing the life that you want to live, and do your best to become omnipresent. Show up everywhere, and you are going to print money for breakfast, which is what my goal is for you. I love you. I'll see you next week.